If it's a day called today, we're talking guitars and life. Are you looking for a loaded pickguard for a Strat style guitar? We're going to check out a budget option today on the channel. Could it be any good? I don't know. Let's find out together, man. Come on the journey with me. It ought to be a good ride. Well, welcome back everybody to another episode of Ted Talks Guitars and Life. We are in the throes of the Washburn Sonomaster Deluxe Strat Style Guitar Upgrade Series. And I am not a humbucker in the bridge kind of guy. And those pickups are okay. The single coils are okay. The bridge is really loud. I don't like it. So I was looking at some parts and I thought, well, I could get a 3 single coil cut pickguard. I could purchase, I actually have 3 pots laying around the shop. It's just a study. Everybody knows it's just a study. And I could get the wiring and all the things and a new 5-way switch. I have a pure tone output jack that I've already have halfway installed. And so I went on the hunt and I found a $45 loaded pickguard. Big reveal. Oh. This is made by a company called LAMSAM. LAMSAM. Nice sounding guitar pickups. Well, we'll see about that, my friends. So the thing that I liked about this particular loaded pickguard, and there were all kinds of loaded pickguards to choose from out on the Zon, as you guys know. But I liked this one, and I'll tell you why. Alnico 5 pickups, 1 volume 2-tone, 5-way switch. Okay, guys, listen to this. Hear that? Cheap box switch. Better switch. Pots, these you could just about blow on these and they would turn. These are smooth. Yeah, man, those feel really good. So let's look at the back. This is what drew me to it, okay, this particular model. Are these good parts? We don't know yet. The switch felt fantastic. The pots feel fantastic. I believe that's a 47 orange cap capacitor. But what drew me to this were the features of this pickguard. So this is the stock Washburn pickup. So you've got your 2 single coils, your humbucker that I mentioned, 2 dime-sized pots, a green chiclet, and a box switch. Now guys, I say this in almost every video that I make. You do you. If you want to rock these dime-sized pots and you want to rock this box switch and that works for you, and you want to keep all this stock and rock and roll the Sonomaster out the box, you do you, Jack. But as for me, I know what I like. And what do I like, you might ask? I like full-size pots. I like an orange cap capacitor. I like what some people call a blade switch. Man, I like that a lot. Some people call that a wafer switch. The pickups look pretty good to me. There's no really descriptive language on them by way of manufacturer. It says TJ48, TJ50, and TJ52. Yep, that's all it says. And so, because I would have needed to get the pickguard that was designed for 3 single coils. I would have had to get a switch. I had pots on hand. I had the capacitor on hand. But why not buy a unit that's all put together? We will attach 2 of these wires to the output jack, and we will attach 1 of these wires to the claw to ground all of this. But before we get to the fun part, man, let's just look at these. Okay? A, B. Oh, I think that's pretty good, man. I think that looks pretty good. I like that. Absolutely right. All right, so in the box you also get screws for your pick guard. Now, will all of this fit on the guitar? So 3 things about the pick guard I would need to do. 1, I would need to Dremel around the neck pocket here. I will need to Dremel around the bridge plate, and I will need to drill at least 3 to 4 new holes. Will it be worth it? I don't know. I haven't heard the pickups yet. So, worst case scenario, we do a considerable amount of work and we don't like the sound. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now. Do I want to go forward or not? The back of the plate, does the plate line up? Let's take a gander. By the way, this is a nice 3-ply design. It's not an exact fit by way of hole alignment. So, I will either rock and roll the white one that came with this guitar, or I would have to drill holes. So, send it back or keep it. Send it back or keep it and put some work into it. Good question. All right, my friends, I've got decisions to make, so I need to go make them. All right, if you like this kind of content, why don't you like the video? Consider subscribing to the channel. Come back anytime and hang out with us at Ted Talks Guitars and Life. And now, let's get back to it. Now this may be a good time for me to interject. Nothing I do is prescriptive for you, just descriptive of my brand of crazy guitar life. So what I generally do on a Strat, because I'm going to essentially block this trem bar, making it a pseudo hardtail guitar, taking the trem out of play. I am going to put this claw as close to this body as I can get it, leaving probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 mil between the body and the claw. That's going to make these springs really taut. It's going to make the trem stable where it does not move. Now if I put an arm on that, could I bend it? Sure. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting foam under the springs. I just had some foam that came out of some product I had, and I don't know that I'll have enough. I may be able to get away with doing it something like that, because for me, guys, what I know about a Strat spring is that even though I don't have the trem in play, sometimes you can hear the pinging of these springs. So I'm going to put some insulation around the springs, something like that. Obviously I have to trim all this. I just thought I'd share that with you. That's my best practice in how I roll, but hey, you do you, Jack. Okay, so I've got the claw pretty much up against the body. Again, I've got probably 3 or 4 mil between the body and the claw. one observation about this claw, it is super, you see how it's kind of bending flat? That's not a quality claw, guys. If you get this guitar, or you have a guitar like this, a Strat style with a trem, you want a claw that is sturdy. That is just my food for thought. Feel free to do what you want. But that claw is really not high quality. The springs are, you know, they're I had them off and looked at them. I didn't film that. Apologize for that. But they're pretty, you know, they're not very beefy at all. But again, all I need to do with this is to make sure that it has the body, the bridge, laying on the deck of this guitar. Okay, now I can take my screwdriver and I will flatten on a, if you were going to use your trem bar, you would not want these screws to be flush. That's what's going to give you some play in the trem bar. But because I'm not going to use the trem, I'm going to be tightening these screws to where this bridge piece is flat on the body of this guitar. That's going to give me a little bit of a better angle for my string height. Or at least that's what I do, how I do it. How do you do it, guys? Man, why do I keep turning that light on and off? That just looks so much better than this. Okay, this or that. This. That's for you, Sean, my dear brother, plenty old bass. And you too, Brent, with your Pickguard on or off. Great video, by the way. Alright, guys, we'll be back with a loaded Pickguard sooner than later. In the spirit of full disclosure, and we're doing under the hood kind of conversations, I would just note that I noticed in taking the output jack cover off that again this screw is very close to the edge of that. It is not penetrating that, but it is very close, and that's why if you saw me wrestle with the output jack in the previous vid, I was trying to get it lined up. So fairly common on budget guitars, and really I've seen that kind of thing with even higher price guitars than this. Well, from the good news, bad news file, 2 points of bad news. One is I can't get my microphone to work on my lapel mic, so I'm going to try to be talking close to the phone and hopefully you can hear me. Second part of bad news, my pickguard alignment is off, which means only 3 of my screws align. I did have to Dremel this side of the pickguard a little bit to get around the bridge, and I will have to Dremel up here, and I will have to drill holes in the body of this guitar. But such is life. So what we're going to do now is we are going to solder. We need to solder the ground wire to the claw, and we need to solder our output jack. Step 1 of this process will be to remove the original ground wire remains of the day. So I'm going to take my needle nose pliers, and I'm going to take my soldering iron, which should be thoroughly heated up by now, and I'm going to gingerly try to deinstall this wire. I am wearing safety goggles, and the reason that I'm wearing safety goggles, particularly in this part of the adventure, is that I do not want to get any kind of flying debris from the soldering iron when I yank that wire out. So now all we should have to do at this point, I don't care where this wire goes, guys, because I'm not going to use the trem, so I don't mind if it sits right over the springs. If you were going to be using your trem on your guitar, you would want to make sure that you do not put the wire anywhere near the springs. I'm taking those out of the equation for my purposes. I could cut the wire more closely, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something like this. The other piece of bad news is that the nice cream color trim cover does not align with the screw holes on the back of this guitar any more than the pickguard aligned with the screw holes on the front of the guitar. So I have options. Option one is to only use the 2 screw holes that do align. Option B, the option I'm taking, is to go back to the old white one, because I don't really care. Maybe I should, but I don't. So, since I have my soldering iron on, I'm not going to waste time putting this on. You can tell I kind of coiled up my ground wire. It will not move from that location. At least I do not believe it will, my friends. At least I do not believe that it will. I use those cork blocks for a lot of things. One of the things that I really like them for, I find them very useful when I am setting the top of the guitar on a table. I don't like the pickups to be on the table or the knobs, so I put them like thusly, giving me some clearance. So now we're going to wire up our pure tone output jack. Step one is to pre-tin the positive and the negative post. So let me do that. On a pure tone output jack, you'll see there's multiple points of connection for the cable. There are 2 posts. The post that is in between these 2 brown doohickeys, that's a technical term, is the hot, and the one that sits on top is the negative. And yeah, so I'm going to attach the white wire to the hot and the black wire to the ground. And yeah, should be easy enough. Well, I thought I had my camera running, but apparently I had the camera paused, so I don't know if you saw any of that. However, it's time to test electronics, guys. So we have everything all soldered up. And let's see what we got here. I'm going to start with the volume all the way down, tones all the way up. I'm going to turn on a little ampage over here. So in theory, electronics are golden. Now, I still have to come back and I have to Dremel out around the neck pocket so that our neck will fit in the guitar. And I'm going to have to drill some holes into the body of this guitar. So yeah, that should be fun. Stand by. And here we go. Now in theory, we should be able to just drill these screws in here. Let's see about that, won't we? Oh man, was nobody gonna tell me I missed one? You're all fired, man. You're all stinking fired. Not really. I couldn't fire you guys, man. I like hanging out with you too much. I use this on the pickguard. Not going to use that up here. Was nobody going to tell me I missed a screw? Come on, guys, man. Thought you're all on my side, man. I can't tell you how much I hate that plastic under those knobs. You know, somebody could get every guitar manufacturer on the planet in a room and tell them, please stop putting plastic under these nuts, man. Dang. Drives me crazy, man. Okay, friends, let's summarize the adventure tonight. So we soldered the ground wire of this loaded pickguard to the claw. We installed a pure tone output jack. Oh, by the way, I did have to ream that hole just a little bit with my reamer. I'll put links in the description below. Just kind of gingerly like that a couple times for that to fit through there. And looks like I scratched my guitar right there. That is fantastic. Yeah, we had to drill and install several screws that did not align with the pre-existing holes for the pickguard. And we had to Dremel both around the bridge on the pickguard, and we had to Dremel around the neck pocket. But that body and that neck are now ready to be joined together in perfect harmony. But that, my friends, will be another day. Not a day called today. A day called tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Hope you had a great time. I always dig hanging out with you. Well, as always, wherever you are in your guitar journey, I pray it's a long, smooth, safe, joy-filled ride for you, Jack. Rock on with your bad selves, everybody. We'll catch you down the road.